There is no such thing as a perfect parent, so just be a real one.
Look for the silver lining whenever a cloud appears in the blue.
What are the most essential parenting skills needed to be a parent in this day and age? That's the question we keep asking ourselves, our co-workers, our neighbors, our extended family members. And for the most part, the answer is connect with your child. And while that may feel like an impossible task in this age of phones, tablets, social media, the idea that connection is what leads us to have more meaningful relationships remains the same from generation to generation. A very interesting book, All Joy and No Fun, The Paradox of Modern Parenthood, says it best. Children learn from the world through doing, touching, experiencing. Adults, on the other hand, tend to take in the world through their heads, reading books, watching television, swiping at touchscreens. They're estranged from the world of everyday objects. Yet interacting with the world is fundamental to who we are. Hello and welcome to another episode of Between Us, Make Every Conversation Count. In today's episode, we are going to talk about modern-day parenting. They say it takes a village to raise a child. Child raising has never been the sole responsibility of the parents. I think our ancestors always believed in collective parenting. Some time ago, family meant the grandparents, mother, father, and children living under the same roof. And gradually, the nuclear family consisting of parents and their children became the norm in many countries. Although the joint family system continues to exist in many parts of India, many children, especially in the urban areas, are growing up in the nuclear family units. This means a typical household is no longer a joint family with a large support system. In fact, the community at large has become less involved in helping parents raise their children. Moreover, today we have different types of families. It's not uncommon for a child to be raised in a single mother setup, single father setup, or same-sex parent households. The world at large is also grappling with changing gender roles. Traditional gender norms are being broken as fathers are becoming more involved in parenting and mothers are working harder, managing office and home. With so many changes happening, how can parents and children thrive? So remember, we have to always remind ourselves that we are partners and not just parents. Both the father and mother have to work harmoniously to raise their children. The first step is to identify the parenting philosophies that you and your spouse believe in. These principles could be related to co-sleeping, breastfeeding, discipline, or even schooling. Discuss these parenting strategies and create rules together so that both parents are on the same page. When you disagree on certain issues, talk it out and find a solution based on your shared values and beliefs. In short, each parent may walk differently, but what's important is to walk in the same direction. And the fact is, although your extended family may not be staying with you under the same roof, never hesitate to seek help from family members when it's required. Also, reach out to other parents or friends or online parenting communities. The fact is that the busy lives have put families under pressure. The cost of modernization is a packed daily routine. Most parents go through their days with minimal time for relaxation, leisure, or even sleep. Not just that, mothers and fathers are juggling jobs and household chores, and of course, parenting. There are added social pressures such as get-togethers, parties, birthdays that must not be missed, and caring, of course, for the aging parents. Just a generation ago, spending time together, doing nothing, was considered normal and healthy. But today, it is considered highly unproductive. Every member of the family is expected to utilize their time well, engaged in some activity or the other. In addition, children are being raised with urgency to accomplish goals and not waste time. Expecting children to excel in everything from academics to sports and hobbies can be traumatizing for them. School, homework, extracurricular activities, and screens may overstimulate your children, leaving them physically and emotionally exhausted. Under so much of pressure to perform from a young age, it's not surprising that some children think, I'm not good enough. So, amidst such pressures, it's natural for parents and children alike to feel overwhelmed and overburdened. And this takes a toll on family bonding. So, what's to be done? I think the first step is acceptance. Acceptance is key. In the book The Conscious Parent, the author writes that you will accept your child to the degree you accept yourself. While this may seem like a simple thing to do, the fact is most of us are not practicing self acceptance and self love. In a world of constant comparisons and peer pressure, it's important to accept ourselves and teach our children to accept themselves. The key to raising free thinkers and happy children is acceptance. As a start, parents can begin reminding themselves, I accept, I am a human, before being a parent. When there is a culture of acceptance in the family, regardless of the pressures from outside, the core of your and your child's bond remains secure and unaffected. Another interesting discussion point is parenting in the digital era. Technology has invaded every nook and corner of our life. It's one of the biggest challenges modern parents face. Parents are working from home. Children are exposed to screens because of online classes, and everyone's checking Facebook and Instagram multiple times a day. While the initial aim of technology was to bring people closer to each other, emotional connections are becoming few and far between. Face to face communication between parents and children has reduced significantly because they are constantly connected to the virtual world of the internet. It's not unusual to see family members spend time on their phones or laptops for hours without talking to each other. Parents are also encouraging their children to become technologically adept. Automation of our lives has not led to the automation of emotions. We must always remember that. This means that even though the world around us is changing, our emotional needs, especially a child's emotional needs, remain inherently the same. Human touch, hugs, eye contact, and affection can never be replaced. I was reading somewhere about a 4-year-old kid, Kiara. She was having sleep terrors almost every night. Her parents were worried. No matter how much they tried to console her, she would cry uncontrollably. Finally, her parents sought professional help and found out that a popular age appropriate cartoon show she has been watching was actually filled with storylines not suited to a 4-year-old. Kiara's parents stopped her from watching TV, and she wasn't allowed any screen time at all. The little girl didn't understand why this happened. She begged her parents to let her watch TV and use screens, but her parents remained firm. Soon, the night terrors stopped. So here's the question. Do you think Kiara's parents' approach was correct? Would you have done it differently? The truth is, there are no right or wrongs. After all, each of us have different ideas about raising our children. And you cannot adopt a simple all or nothing approach. While setting screen time limits is ideal, it is difficult to ascertain what the limits are. So, how do you stop worrying and decide what amount of screen time will work for your child? To my mind, set rules for your child and yourselves too. To make life easier, set limits for your children, but make sure you follow them too. If children are not allowed to watch TV during meal times, then neither should you. When the family works as a team and rule applies to everyone, the child feels heard and acknowledged. Moreover, the child feels himself or herself to be an integral part of the family. Not just that, for parents, a digital detox from time to time can help when they are overwhelmed by technology. You will no longer be stressed and your health will improve. Remember, no matter how old or smart your child is, it is best to monitor your child's social media and internet usage and ensure that they are exposed to age appropriate content. Another pet peeve I always hear from my friends who are parents is my parenting is better than yours. Every day we are swamped by information overload, online articles, emails, tweets, posts, videos, and whatnot. No wonder today's parents are more informed, more educated, and more competitive as well. A familiar refrain is that every parent must conform to a particular parenting style and somehow try to outdo each other. And you know what? Backed by internet research, every parent is convinced that their parenting style is the best. That makes us think about whether the goal behind adopting a parenting style is to raise the child in the best manner or to be the best parent. There is no single definition of a good parent, just as there is no perfect way of raising your child. But nowadays, society expects parents to not only attend to a child's needs, but also anticipate them. They expect them to raise well rounded children who must be good at everything. They expect to provide children with not only the basic necessities, but also the best lifestyle, holidays, extracurricular activities. They expect to excel in their own career and spend quality time with children. They expect to create an ambience of peace and harmony at home. They expect to nurture children with utmost care and attention. Just a few generations ago, parents only had to take care of their child's basic survival needs: food, clothing, education, and that would be enough to make them good parents. But the scenario is so much different today. So, how do you become a good parent? I think the simplest answer, which I've seen my parents doing, is to trust your instincts. Possibly the biggest mistake parents make is to allow societal expectations to overrule their inner parenting voice when it comes to bringing up children. At the beginning of one's parenting journey, one may feel confused. However, as the bond between you and your child becomes stronger, you will realize that you know your child the best. Seeking professional help is also a wonderful idea. But no one, I repeat, no one knows your child better than you. There are so many opinions and beliefs with regard to parenting that a parent today can get confused while choosing the best for their child. But the good news is that the best does not have a clear definition. What may work for your friend's family may not work for your family. What is important is to weigh the pros and cons, take decisions as a family, and take responsibility for your decisions. After all, we all fail. It's human to fail. Forgive yourself and learn from that failure. In parenting, as in life, some of the most valuable lessons can be learned from failure. We may feel overwhelmed at some stage of our parenting journey, but the fact remains that parenting is as rewarding as ever. The saving grace is that while many things may have changed, some things remain inherently the same. As a parent, it's important that you focus on loving your child unconditionally and building a strong bond with your child. As long as you've created a loving, safe, secure, and accepting environment for your child, I think you will do just fine. So here's the question: what is it that you can do right away? Maybe participate in a parent group discussion. Maybe ask your child 5 things she or he would like to do with you and attempt to do this in the coming few days. Maybe play a simple game of My Challenges, where each family member sits down to talk about their personal challenges. This will help all members appreciate each other's problems and support each other. One of the most profound challenges in the contemporary world is gender neutral parenting. These days, many parents choose gender neutral parenting when raising their children. This form of parenting encourages children to explore the world and express themselves in their own way without being limited by traditional gender roles. You see, over time, gender neutral parenting could help develop a child's sense of self and teach them to pursue their interests in the long run. Since they explore a variety of options, they develop many interests, which ultimately leads to having access to more opportunities than children who are encouraged to engage only in gender specific activities. Gender refers to socially constructed roles, behaviors, and norms. So, how do we explain the term gender? To my mind, gender refers to socially constructed roles, behaviors, and norms assigned to people based on their perceived sex. This defines their relationship with each other and varies in different societies, and it's been evolving over time. So let us ask this question: how does the gender manifest? First, gender is hierarchical and produces inequalities in a society, including behaviors that are taught from childhood. These days, many parents choose gender neutral parenting when raising their children. This form of parenting encourages children to explore the world and express themselves in their own way without being limited by traditional gender roles. Being gender neutral does not mean parents deny their child's developing gender. Without imposing any gender based limits, it allows children to explore their interests and identities freely. Now, the most common approach to gender neutral parenting is to support a child's freedom of expression. It starts by providing children with a variety of toys, activities, clothing choices, and even engagement opportunities that are not based on stereotypical gendered expectations. So let us ask this question: how do we practice gender neutral parenting? Well, I think we can start this style of parenting even before the baby is born. Consciously straying from conventional colors associated with a particular sex, blue for a boy, pink for a girl, is a good start. The same goes for toys. Fill toy boxes with both trucks and dolls instead of one gender type. Over time, gender neutral parenting could help develop your child's sense of self and teach them to pursue their interests in the long run. When your child chooses to express themselves in a way that is not generally accepted, don't immediately overrule their choice. Playing dress up or pretend is important to their intellectual and emotional development. Let them try new hairstyles, clothing choices, and toys. So let's not try to be Ross from Friends, who tries to switch up the dinosaur toy when his son wants to have a Barbie doll. Encourage your child to not invite only boys or only girls to their birthday party or on playdates. Create tea party playdates that welcome everyone, including a diverse group of friends. As a parent, learn to stand up for your child in school based on his or her interests. If a boy wants to join a knitting club, let him join, show your support, and your child will grow in their own self confidence. Boundaries and curfews should be similar. I grew up in a joint family where the rules were very similar for my sisters and for me. So, boundaries and curfews should be similar, as should expectations regarding responsibilities and household chores. Just as allowances are often based on age or maturity, divide chores amongst children based on their capabilities, not sex or gender identities. So, if you were to ask me what would be the outcome of a gender neutral parenting, so here's the answer. Society sets a standard for acceptable behavior, and only parents can remove gender as an obstacle early on. A child would feel most comfortable and confident in who they are when they grow up in a gender neutral household. Children will treat others based on how they see their parents treat others and how they have been treated by them. When children's unique differences are respected by their parents, they will offer similar respect to others. Since they explore a variety of options, they develop many interests, which ultimately leads to having access to more opportunities than children who are engaged to engage only in gender-specific activities. Increasing number of parents wish to give their child the space psychologically and emotionally to fully express who they are by minimizing the conscious and unconscious impact that gender bias can have on a child. As an example, seeing girls as weaker or boys as smarter. One of the major concerns of gender neutral parenting is what other people will think, how they will treat their child in society. In a school, children easily pick on those who appear different among their peers, and children who don't follow gender norms may be subject to teasing or bullying. Parents can help their child in many ways in these situations. First, you can start by teaching your child how to regulate their emotions. Bullies thrive on reactions they get from their targets. Teach them how to put distance between themselves and people who don't align with them, and encourage them to get along with other kids. If anything goes too far, tell your child to reach out to an adult, including parents. Just let them know that you are a safe space for them to talk about their problems. So the fact is, parenting can be extremely challenging in today's fast-paced technological society. A few essential skills for parents to remember. As we live in an ever-changing environment, create a loving space your child can always return to when the life gets tough and chaotic. It could be a cozy corner in your home. Consider small ways to connect with your child each day to create long lasting memories. More than likely, your child will remember the small acts of kindness, perhaps even more than you will. Practice self care and role model for your child. How to be intentional about caring for yourself and giving yourself grace, especially during times when there never seems to be enough time in the day to complete the never ending to do list. Remember, relationships are important. Be deliberate about cultivating a meaningful relationship with your child by being cognitively and physically present, but also provide opportunities for your child to connect with other children and adults who can teach your child skills and life. Positive role models can be extremely important throughout a child's life. Being busy all the time can be counterproductive. Creating blocks of time for children to play, invent, create with few to no limitations, and dream is essential to their development and well being. Advocate and serve together with your child. Expose your child to a variety of types of situations and people in this world. Talk to your child about what they notice. Listen to their observations and answer their questions. Then together take action and serve for the betterment of others within your community and beyond. Here are my final thoughts. Parenting is the most challenging job out there. For the most part, you know your child better than anyone else. As I said earlier, when in doubt, go with your gut and develop a support structure to go to when you are unsure of where to go next. Connect and ask other parents who are more than likely asking the same questions and experiencing similar situations as you about what they are experiencing. Remember, we are in this together. So let's help each other and support each other along the way. Isn't that what life is all about? Caring, loving, supporting, and connecting with one another to make this world an even better place for our children. Remember, compassion, reflection, curiosity, and play. Every parenting starts with ourselves. If we struggle to regulate our emotional experience, how can we help our children learn to regulate theirs? And if we didn't have parents who did that for us, it is easy to find ourselves without tools. Compassion allows us space to dive in and reflect. When we reflect, we can see those holes in our own childhoods. Curiosity always allows us to understand them and again. Compassion helps us heal. I think parents need the ability to be present with their children. We are all very busy, stressed, and distracted. It is so easy to numb out with electronics, food, alcohol, etc. All of these things keep us from being fully present with our kids. It seems that parents increasingly struggle with how to calm and center ourselves. I think without that skills to mindfully be present, everything else about parenting becomes more and more challenging. I also believe that one of the most essential parenting skills is curiosity. And by that, I don't mean snooping. See if you can have an attitude of being curious towards your child in an open, friendly, and genuinely interested way. Remember, as parents, we tend to assume that we already know what our child's intentions, feelings, and thoughts are, without actually stopping to find out if we are right. When you invite your child to explore their emotions, motivations, feelings, and thoughts in a non judgmental and thoughtful way, you are helping them develop, what modern day psychologists call a mentalizing capacity, which will help them build emotional resilience and the ability to make good decisions in this life. Parenting can be stressful and overwhelming at times, so it's essential that parents find healthy ways to de-stress. For some, this may be exercise, while others may get up early for some alone time to read. Setting limits and boundaries. Let's picture a scene. You're in the supermarket. Your child is screaming and demanding something they shouldn't have. Everyone is looking at you, and you think judging you because your child seems to be out of control. At that moment, it feels easier to give in to your child's demands, but you shouldn't. Children learn what behavior is acceptable by what you allow them. And if you don't set limits and stick to your boundaries, teaching them that no does not mean no, then they will always expect to get everything their own way and will have a tantrum when they don't. So, being present with your child and playing, slowing down and being with them will help your child understand life from their eyes, make them feel loved and important, hear about their hurts, joys, and needs. Let's make sure we communicate respectfully to our kids and are accountable for our own actions when we make mistakes. So finally, let's all pick our battles wisely and remember, we don't have control over everything as a parent. Our child is our world, but is also a living, thriving individual with a unique personality. Accept ourselves and our children as they are and stop comparing our child with others. Remember, technology has both positive and negative consequences. Therefore, it's important to remind our children and ourselves that balance is key. Saying screens are bad isn't good enough. We need to have regular conversations with our child about device usage. Let's connect with other parents in the community, ask for help, and accept their support, and help them out as well. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you take back some of these points and have a conversation with your children, with co-parents, within your community. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Between Us podcast. This podcast was recorded at Manikpod Studios in Chembur, Mumbai. Our sound engineer is Moinak Chakraborty, and our producers are Arnav Dogra and Santosh Kumar. The Between Us podcast uploads episodes weekly, and we'll see you next time.